How long does it take to get an expunction? An expunction is the legal process you go through to destroy the records of your arrest and the subsequent case file. It's powerful enough that if you were granted an expunction, you can actually swear under oath that you've never been arrested. So how long does it take to get an expunction? Well, it depends on how you qualify for the expunction. For example, if you were found not guilty, you're entitled to apply immediately. On the other hand, if your case was dismissed or no billed, you're going to wait for the statute of limitations to pass before you can apply for an expunction. For a misdemeanor, that's 2 years. For most felonies, that's 3 years. But as the seriousness of felonies increase, so do their statute of limitations. So there are 5-year statutes, 7-year statutes, and some offenses that simply do not have a limitation on when the charges can be brought or revived. That tells you when you can apply. From the moment you apply, how long does it take to actually get an expunction and then see those results actually come through to where your background check does not show any record of that conviction? Well, preparing a petition is fairly straightforward. You might expect your attorney to prepare the petition within a week or two. That petition will then get filed after you've approved it with the district attorney's office. The district attorney's office will have an opportunity to review it and raise any legal arguments or objections they might have in regards to your obtaining that objection. Sometimes it takes a couple of weeks, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 months before the state responds with their position. Once the state has responded, there will be another filing. That filing is often a proposed order or an agreed proposed order for the judge, and that will go to the judge's docket. Once it gets onto the judge's docket, it may take 2-3 more months before the judge takes that up and sometimes have a hearing, sometimes not have a hearing, but ultimately rule on that proposed order. Once the petition and order have been filed, it will go into the judge's queue to be reviewed at a docket. Sometimes the judge will require a hearing, sometimes the judge will not require a hearing. Between the time of filing and getting that agreed or proposed order to the judge, you might see 2 or 3 months go by before it's addressed by the court. So from the start to when you see a judge sign the actual order, we might be talking about a time frame of 4 to 6 months. Now, once the judge has signed the order then gets distributed to all the agencies that your attorney asked for the expunction order to go to. Now, every agency will comply when they're able to. So some agencies, like our local clerk's office, will do so immediately. You'll see the records come down by the next day. But other agencies have such a backlog of these orders that they're processing that it's going to take them months. Pre-pandemic, the general turnaround for Texas Department of Public Safety to remove a record after an expunction was about 4 months. After the pandemic, it's been taking 6, 8, even 12 months before DPS complies. It's not that they're not trying to, it's simply that they have a shortage of staff and an overwhelming number of expunctions or non-disclosures that they have to process. So there are a couple of things that you need to know once you get that order of expunction signed. First, the moment it is signed, you have legally never been arrested on that charge. You can swear under oath that you've never been arrested. But 2, you understand that it's going to take time before those records stop showing up on a background check. And you may be caught in this situation where you're saying you've never been arrested and yet it's showing up on a background check. In that scenario, it's very important that you talk to our office or you talk to your attorney so that you have a letter ready that explains why something might be showing up on your background that should not be there. Of course, there are mechanisms for your attorney to try to also track down where this information is coming from and try to get it removed. Again, understanding the limitations of different agencies. If we find out that it's Texas DPS, which is the primary purveyor of criminal information in Texas, we're going to know no amount of certified letters, no amount of getting that order over to DPS is going to make this happen any more quickly. We have to wait for the process to work. On the other hand, if it's a local agency or even a local database that's selling your information, there are things that we can do to try to get them to pull that information down. Or if they continue to disseminate that information, that is actually a criminal offense that they're committing. The primary takeaway from this video is that if you're eligible for an expunction, you want to do so as quickly as possible because it's going to take time for you to see those results come to fruition. This video was made in response to questions that we've received on this channel in the past. If you have a criminal question that you'd like for us to answer, just drop a comment below and we'll be happy to answer that in a future video.